Hey y'all, hey, I'll be talking about locks, things that you might want to consider before you embark on your lock journey, things that you want to consider while you're on your lock journey, and just things to encourage you while you are experiencing your lock journey. So all things lock journey, whether you're starting, you're at the beginning, you're still thinking about it, you're really in it, or you've been in it for like 9 years, sometimes we still need a little encouragement. I'm doing a video in collaboration with my cousin. She's also a lock queen and she has traditional locks, and you can check out her video, some link somewhere. I'm going to provide it. Hey y'all, hey. So today we're going to be talking about different things regarding locks, why I chose the locks that I chose, and a little encouragement for people who are thinking about embarking on this lock journey, or encouragement for people who are just starting locks, or just encouragement for everyone who's on the lock journey, basically, right? So I have my notes or whatnot, so I will be referring back to the notes to make sure that we stay on an agenda, a structured agenda, because there's a lot of things that we can talk about regarding locks, especially because the lock community is growing so large nowadays. There's inspiration everywhere, and I want everyone to kind of go into their lock journey or change their perspective while they're on their lock journey, according to something that would be more aligned with like a growth mindset, if you will, because the lock journey is all about growth. Like, you grow through the process, like seriously, you do. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is the method in which you do start your locks if you are thinking about going or embarking on this lock journey. And there are so many different methods nowadays, and myself, this is my second lock journey. And so this time I started with 2-string twists, and it did take a while for the actual twist pattern to disappear. I think it was like a year or something to that nature. But I'll go back through some photos and insert somewhere on the screen exactly how long it took for my twist to disappear. And I'll also insert some photos so that you can actually see how that process went for me. So like I said, I started with 2-strand twists for these micro locks. My first lock journey were like more traditional size locks, and I started with coils. Now that is the method in which your locks will begin to look more like locks the quickest. That's by far, hands down, the quickest way to have your locks look more like locks. So we have coils, we have 2-strand twists. That 2-strand twist would be the second quickest way for your locks to lose that pattern, that twist pattern, and actually look like a uniform lock. And then the last way that I know about are braids. That is the last, absolute last way, or the longest method that you can utilize, where your locks are going to kind of have that braid pattern for a bit. And I've never experienced that myself, but I have seen other people talk about their journey with that. A lot of people do the braid pattern if they have thicker hair and they want less volume, because braids are not going to expand as much as coils do and twists do during your lock process, okay? And my next point, I want to talk about the different visions that you have when you're thinking about starting your locks, right? We see so much, again, like I said, inspiration, that we might go into our lock journey saying, I want my locks to look just like hers, or I want my locks to be this size, or whatever, right? And I think it's good to have like a starting point, kind of like a blueprint, but be flexible to, or be open to accepting whatever your hair ends up transitioning into or evolving into, right? Because hair density plays a big part in how much your locks will swell up, basically. Texture, same thing. And then also hair length. It is so crazy because both times that I started my locks, I had like hair either here or shoulder length, right? But it shrunk up so much once the locks started to do their thing, and I don't think I was really prepared for, I know I wasn't prepared for that the first journey, but the second journey I was definitely prepared for that. And so I think that is a big thing that I want people to kind of take into account and be open. But the thing about it is that no matter the length of your hair. And again, I know people are like, oh, you know, I don't know about that. And then the other thing is there are lock extensions now. So you don't really have to go through this, I'm going to say short hair stage, because I'm not going to call it the other thing that everyone calls it, but the short hair stage. A lot of people don't have to go through that stage anymore. But let's say that you don't want to get lock extensions, right? Every stage you are able to experience something else with a different length of hair. There are plenty of hairstyles that I used to do when my hair was here that don't give me the same like vibe now that I do, and now that I do them and my hair is this length. So I would encourage people to really enjoy every stage that you're in. Be present, because that's another part of growing locks. It encourages you to be present in the process, in that moment. And it really is important to be present in the moment, because like I said, if you're present and you're open to all of the possibilities in that very moment, then you'll be able to be a little more creative and have a different vision or perspective to be able to do different things to your hair. And we are living in a time where there's so many beautiful lock people who are super creative, or their stylists are super creative and they're able to do so many different styles. So you have to experiment, and you will experiment and see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And I hope that you'll be able to build up your own toolbox of go-to hairstyles. Let's talk about lock maintenance. So when you're getting traditional locks, right? Typically those are going to be as small as like a pencil to as large as you want them to be, right? My first locks were traditional and they worked best being palm rolled. I did interlock some of them at times because I did have smaller traditional locks, and I would experience hair growth around the base of the lock as opposed to my hair growing out, right? And so at times my loctician at the time would just interlock that hair. But now looking back, I would have preferred it to just be palm rolled because of the size of the lock, and it was just easier to maintain because of having traditional locks, right? I'm not going to contradict myself, because now I have micro locks. The best method for lock maintenance on micro locks is interlocking, using some type of tool and pretty much knotting your hair, right? Well, it has its pros and cons. I love the end result of interlocking my hair, because then I can wash it or whatnot and I don't have to worry about my retwist washing out, right? But it does take a longer time. The other thing about it is with palm rolling and interlocking, when I did both of those methods the first go round for my first set of locks, I actually combed out my locks the first journey, and it was very difficult to comb out the interlock part of my locks. I know I broke some hair during the process when I was trying to comb them out, and it was because I obviously was an amateur. That was my first time ever combing out locks. But the part that was palm rolled was easier to comb out. It was not easy to comb out. It was easier to comb out those portions versus the interlock portions. So that leads me to my next point. If you think that there may be a small chance that you're going to want to comb out your locks, because guess what? Now you can get rid of your locks without cutting your locks off, right? If you want to comb out your locks and think there's a chance to comb out your locks, palm roll your hair. I would try to skip interlocking completely, because you are literally knotting your hair when you're interlocking or when you're doing interlocking, right? And combing out is just going to be very challenging. So that is something to consider as well. Another point about lock maintenance is coloring your hair. A lot of people have the misconception that when you color your hair with locks, your hair will not break because it's stronger, it's in its natural state. Locks are strong, blah, 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 all of that, right? My first, well actually now, and my first lock journey, I typically only color the top portion of my hair, so half or whatnot, and I'll bleach it or whatnot, right? Well, during my first lock journey, I did experience more thinning in the front than I did in the back, because I did not color the back of my hair as often as I did the front, or I didn't bleach it as often as I did the front. And I did experience some thinning, and that was because I did not maintain it as I should, having colored hair, because I was like, oh, I have locks, it's gonna be all right. And so I did have to combine a lot of locks during that first journey. This journey, I have not bleached it as much, but I honestly am, I love coloring my hair. Right now I'm doing the blue black thing or whatnot, but I'm pretty sure I will bleach my hair again, you know, whatnot. But again, I typically just do the front, which seems to be backwards, but that's the thing I like to do. However, this go around, I am trying to be more mindful and intentional about caring for my color treated hair or bleach treated hair as I would loose natural hair. Because at the end of the day, your locks, it's still hair. It still can fall out, it still can thin and all of that, just not as easy, right? So that is another thing that I wanted to tackle as far as lock maintenance is locks are low maintenance, they are. However, you still need to maintain your locks because it still is hair. You still need to do something to it. So yeah. My last point that I want to address for people who are thinking about embarking on this journey or are on this journey is hair loss. So I want to talk about postpartum hair shedding when you have locks. My first daughter that I had locks. I did not experience any postpartum hair shedding that I could see, right? Or that I could notice. I did not experience any, or I did not see any rather. When I had my son, I had loose natural hair and I experienced a lot of hair shedding to the point where I had to cut my hair multiple times just because it just made me feel like I was just losing so much hair, and I just was trying to figure out when does it end? When does it end, right? So now that I have my third child, my daughter, she will be 1 in May. So I'm 12 months, almost 12 months on the postpartum, right, journey. And I would say, and I'm going to insert a clip, I lost a lot of hair in this area right here. Like, it looked like about 3 or 4 locks were just ripped out from the scalp in this area. And from experience, I can honestly say that it was definitely less hair than I experienced with my second child. However, it was more hair than I experienced with my first child, and I actually had locks then. So I would say that locks, it does save you during the postpartum hair shedding process, in my opinion, in my experience. But you will and can definitely still experience some postpartum hair shedding. What I did during the process, honestly, I didn't do much. I just kind of let it run its course and it filled back in. I still, washed my hair as much as I could, or as needed, if you will. I try to use natural hair products. I did not color my hair during that process. I would spray my hair every now and again with like rose water and different things like that or whatnot. But I didn't do anything very special in that specific area. I would say about 7 to 8 months during the postpartum journey, I think it started filling back in. And then one day it just was like, it's back in, whatnot. So sometimes it can be very challenging for women to experience that, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. So especially with locks, like I said, it kind of balances itself out. And then a few bonus points I want to leave you with is more about like the creativity. Again, like I mentioned, I really, really, really encourage everyone to love every stage that they're in with their hair, because there are going to be so many different things you're going to be able to do during this stage that you're not going to be able to do in this stage and, moving forward. And you're kind of going to swap out or whatnot. But if you are open during that process, you will be able to pull in all of that creativity and utilize that creativity for the good, whatnot. And for me, honestly, I like a lot of low tension hairstyles, because with locks, I feel like I became more tender-headed because I don't have to manipulate my hair as much. So my scalp kind of like got used to not being manipulated as much or whatnot. So whenever I do styles, I try to do styles with the least amount of pins, the least amount of pulling and all of that, right? The other thing is the use it or lose it creativity, right? A misconception is that you cannot style locks the way you can style loose hair. And I feel like you can, you just gotta get a little more creative. Blah, 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 blah. You have to get a little more creative during the process, kind of look at it from a different angle and be like, And that really requires you to play around with your hair and see what you can do and what you cannot do, or how you can do it in a different manner, right? So I would say, like, for me, I've been trying to style my hair more because I've learned that I got used to just pulling my hair up in a messy bun or in a ponytail. And when it came time for me to style my hair because of an event, I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, you know, whatnot. And then if I see an example of something I wanted to do, I didn't know how to do it or execute it because I hadn't practiced it, right? So I definitely encourage everyone to use your creativity so that you don't lose your creativity. And the last thing is incorporate your own sense of style in your hair. You know, some things you may not like. Like one of the popular things is the palm tree ponies. And I like it on other people, but I wasn't like, how's that gonna look on me? Well, playing around with my hair, I was able to find a way to do it on myself where I liked it on myself, you know, whatnot. And so I definitely encourage people to just play around whenever you have time. Try something, like to try to do something to your hair. You're going out to the grocery store, try a cute little pony that you've seen or whatnot. And it doesn't have to be anything extravagant, but a lot of people get bored with their locks. They get bored with the locks. They feel like they don't look as feminine with their locks or different things like that. And I'm a true big advocate in telling you, locks are versatile. If you have not learned that yet, or if you've not seen that yet, honey, where have you been? Because these girls and these guys are rocking the heck out of these locks. Like, seriously, there's inspiration everywhere. I suggest that you fill up your social media feeds with the lock community. Definitely subscribe to a lot of channels that talk about locks or whatnot on YouTube, and just start building community because you'll start becoming more confident during the process. But best of luck to you during your journey. It will be beautiful. You are gonna grow so much during the process. I know a lot of people say it, but seriously, you begin to develop a self-love that's very different than any other time in your life when it comes to your hair, especially if you're starting off with, you know, the shorter locks or whatnot. You have to start saying, look, what features do I like about myself, and how can I manipulate my hair to, you know, make these features really stand out and me look good and me feel like I look good, you know. So best of luck, and if you like what you saw, please subscribe. I'm going to do more videos on locks. And don't forget to check out my cousin's video because she has locks as well. She has traditional locks, and it's nice to hear different points of views on each other's lock journey. All right, until next time.